Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. I got videos today from Shusha Zed.
It's not talked about enough, and it's so infuriating because how many men are out there that don't want kids? I have found one man in this world.
There's not very many. I think most of us genuinely want kids. There's probably a few, fuckboys out there that are like, I'm good, but I think men genuinely like built all of this and created all of this and lived this long. It's like, kind of want something that outlives me.
That didn't want kids.
Okay, so the caption of this post is, where are all the men that don't want kids? This woman here is obviously struggling and dating because she doesn't want to have kids, but she wants to get married.
This whole dink lifestyle, I'm sure a lot of women want this, but a lot of men don't.
She wants to get married.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
That's what's most likely happening here. Let's keep listening.
It might even be the dink lifestyle. At least the dink lifestyle is dual income, no kids, right? So they probably just want to stay at home wife lifestyle. My bad.
22. One guy that didn't want kids. And it wasn't even that he didn't want kids. It was like, if my future wife wants kids, then I'll have kids. But if she doesn't want kids, then I won't have kids. And it's like how many exist that don't want kids? Because I don't want kids, and I kind of try to make it a point to not really talk to people or try to start something with a guy who wants kids, because clearly that's not going to work out for us. Oh my God. I can't,
Yeah, see, women are not willing to compromise their thing, not having kids. That's it. They don't want, but if men want kids or don't want kids, they have to be compromised to them.
Why do you all want kids? And I'm not shaming you. If you want kids, have kids. But where are the men that don't want kids?
Those are just men that are just like you women that are going against your biological directive.
They've got to be somewhere. You've got to be somewhere. Unless you all want them. Then I'm just alone for life.
Probably, right? Because I'll be honest, I have seen people who get married or dating, and these are few, but I have seen them and they both don't want kids. The majority of men, however.
I have like 2 dink friends. They are literally called themselves dinks because, dual income, no kids thing, because they don't want kids and they want to be able to live the lifestyle they live. They travel quite a bit and I can somewhat understand it, but obviously I'm a kids kind of guy.
Especially if they want what she's probably looking for, which is to get married, then they typically want marriage for children.
Correct.
It's in a man's nature to want to reproduce, to continue his legacy. And so that's going to be tough to find. And then there's also this, and this is just me personally. I'm curious to know what you guys think, but this is where I stand. If I hear a woman who says that she doesn't want kids or doesn't like kids, I just immediately put her in the bucket of the type of woman who's not that nurturing.
100%. 100%. No, someone says they don't like kids. I also automatically think there's something wrong with them. When women say they don't like kids, like it's literally built into you guys to like kids. For you to not like kids, something happened to you to rewire all that.
And I'd assume even men who maybe don't even want kids themselves probably do the same thing, and that may turn them off from a relationship with that woman. And someone may say, well, that doesn't make sense. They should date those women. I don't know. I don't think it works out that way.
No. I mean, just because you both don't want kids doesn't mean you both want marriage.
Wait. I think what happens many times, even with the men who don't want kids, is that they end up being attracted to very nurturing women who hope and pray that it leads to a family, kids, even if they may say, oh, I'm not really that interested. In the back of her mind, she eventually will ask, well, I don't really want to get married, but I would marry you. I don't want to have kids, but I would have your kids. How it typically goes.
True.
I don't think it's natural for most men to run into a woman who says, I don't want kids. I don't want anything to do with them.
I was the only unnatural one with my ex-wife.
And view that as a green flag. I know the vocal people who are like, it's just me and no one else, single for life. And you can choose to be that. I don't think your value is found in whether you're married or not. You guys know.
I'm sure a lot of the viewers of the channel are just mostly that. The full mid-towels, like, I'm probably not going to touch women with a 10-foot pole unless it's just, with my 3-inch pole. Or at least, you know what I mean.
But I believe the main reason a lot of men get into relationships, especially those for marriage, is to have kids. And without that, they're just dealing with you forever, 24/7. And women would take offense because they think, well, why am I not enough? Well, why isn't a broke man enough who just brings himself to a relationship, right? Everybody has their features that they hope come with the relationship they want. And as a man, you're allowed to have that. A few of these comments, top comment here says, if I was a man, I'd probably want kids too. And so this is that assumption that everything's great as long as you're a man. If you're a man, then life is easy. And women's life are terrible and they're sad. And they would only be happy if they would be given the whole world, everything in it with no consequences, of course. This gentleman here says, I got a vasectomy at 24, no kids. Hey, it's better than having kids that you don't want.
Correct.
Somebody else here says, I don't want kids, waste of money. This gentleman says, somebody else here added, my boyfriend got a vasectomy. So there are a lot of people, of course, the algorithm would do its job and find the people who fit this criteria. Somebody else here says, and it's rarely, I want to be a father. It's, I want kids. Somebody responded back to that and says, so many people won't understand.
I mean, the same thing with women. Women say they want kids. They never really say, I want to be a mother.
Understand what you mean by this. Here's another chick that says, I'm genuinely so worried that I won't find a guy that doesn't want kids. And
if you want a rich guy that's fucking has all the status and everything, most of them want kids.
That's probably true. Somebody else who says kids is how they can control you. Here we go. So of course they want kids. It also makes them look better in society and get more promotions, etc. They do it all for aesthetics. It's all
like the projection.
All part of the brand. Yes, sir.
The men brand.
If you decided and looked at life and said, okay, so I have assessed life and I've looked at being single and I've decided, you know what? I see what that comes with, never marrying, and that's the life I want to live. Would you be wrong for that? Would you be wrong for that?
No, I think people are allowed to make the choices that they make. Can we shame them for it? Some. Sure. But doesn't mean shame's gonna take. That's just what it is. We can shame people for anything, tell you the truth, nowadays. But people don't have shame. So does it really work?
Even if you are okay and can deal with the societal pressures of people who may expect you to get married, and I don't think you should get married just because other people want you to. No, you're an adult. You make the decision yourself.
Right.
There's no right and wrong here. You just have to accept the consequences that come with any decision, right? The responsibilities and everything that comes thereon after that. Are you wrong? I don't think so. I don't think that isolated decision on its own is wrong, right? Now, if you're out here doing that and creating broken homes, then I would say the actions that follow that are wrong, along with anything else that I would deem as horrible to innocent children,
Agreed.
Society as a whole, etc. How about people who look at society and say, okay, I see that with the family, with kids comes community. Yes, it's a lot of work, but I like the idea of getting married, get a prenup, getting married, building a family, learning to cooperate with someone else, knowing what it's like to raise children. Maybe you came from a family that showed you that that could be a very beautiful thing. Like,
I would be an example of that. I always tell you guys how I view family is probably a lot different than how you guys view family, as the audience, because you guys come from different backgrounds, different cultures. I always speak so highly of my family. And I know you guys are like, hey, he speaks so highly of them. And he always speaks so highly of family itself because I've always had a good family. My family has always taken care of me. I've been to jail twice, double murder one, 55 pounds of weed, another one. I've done bad things, but my family has always been there for me. And that's why I feel, at least in my own example and my own anecdotal evidence of my family, family's pretty absolute. Just like how I was taught and how I was raised.
Myself. And listen, let's say you understand the gravity of this situation, right? They're like, hey, over 50% of marriages fail, even if it's 50%. This is a high risk activity, but
It is.
I understand it.
I can agree
And on
with
the
this.
flip note, you choose to take that risk and say, hey, and if I am successful and I'm able to pull this thing off, then other people will be able to look and say, we know that wasn't easy. It's not easy.
It's not.
Nothing good is easy, especially if it's
That's why when we see old people, celebrating 40, 30, 50, 60 years together, and it's just like, what? Holy cow, that's a lot of time to be with that person and still be together and still maybe somewhat love each other. I don't know, like they may not fully love each other the same way that they did when they first got together, but I'm sure they love each other in different ways.
good, right? Especially if it's good. And you decide to do that. And yes, she's right. Typically, it's not just men who receive more promotions if they have families or people trust them more, but also
Women.
married women. You know, if you're not a man hater online and men can recognize that about you as a woman, well, they look at you a little bit differently.
So I'm marriage, but I don't want kids. And that makes dating tough because I could be missing out on some good guys. Most people want kids. I feel
Yes.
like being child free by choice is something I'm just seeing now more and more. My For You page is becoming accustomed to that.
I think it's a lot more women than men, but now even again, a good chunk of men are now getting vasectomies because the trap of being baby trapped or, child support is too much for a lot of men to want to deal with.
But I would say I have some fears in the back of my head that like I could be missing out on some good guys just because I don't want kids. Now it's not going to change. I'm not going to go and
And it's funny because I don't think guys think of it this way. It's like, oh, I'm going to miss out on some good girls because I want kids. I don't think guys think this way at all.
pursue or allow myself to be pursued by somebody who wants kids. I think that kids are a major deal breaker and I think that they should remain that way. So yeah, I think a lot of the connections that I have just been cut short prematurely. Well, not even prematurely, but just in early days because we disagree on that. And I don't know, that makes me worried. I know at the end of the day,
I mean, at least you guys ended things and didn't try to continue and try to change each other.
I'm holding on to the belief that the person I meant
Or trick each other. Like I got tricked.
to be with will also want the same things, but I don't know. I would say today it feels daunting. I am unwavering in my choice. I'm not having kids regardless of who I meet, come across, fall in love with. It's just
Even though she's saying I'm unwavering, doesn't matter who it is, I highly doubt it. Like I'm not saying that she's a liar, but I just doubt it.
no, it's not going to happen. Because my reasons for not wanting kids are beyond the man itself. It has nothing to do with the man itself even. So Mr. Perfect coming along will not change that. So yeah, that's just something I'm thinking about. I'm trying not to have a scarcity mindset, but the more stipulations you have,
Of
the
course.
less people you're going to be compatible with. And that's just something I have to be aware of.
Somebody else who says, my brother never wanted kids, got a vasectomy. He's 38 now, no regrets. When he was single, my mom said, what if you meet the love of your life and she wants kids? And he said, then she's not the love of my life. Love that response. Well, good for him, right? He's living the life that he wants to live. So
If you and a partner stay together for between 5 and 8 really seems to be a sweet spot, and a child hasn't come into this world, people can find themselves falling out of love with their partner for kind of no real reason, and they don't really know where it comes from. The cute way that she used to sip her coffee on the morning actually drives you up the wall, or the fact that he always leaves the
can
forks
see
out
that.
on the dining room table, which you used to think was a little bit okay, now it's turning you inside out. There is an evolutionary program that says if you're in a committed relationship with a partner that you're invested in, then children should arrive at some point. If children don't arrive, there is an incompatibility somewhere between us two. It might be me, it might be you. So people that have been in relationships that have said, I found the love of my life at 21 years old, but we're going to hang fire until we're 29 and then we'll decide to do it. And they get to 27 and they find, I thought that this was the one and it's actually not. That is a psychological bias which everybody needs to learn about.
If somebody else here added, I got a vasectomy at 24. A lot of young people getting vasectomies here.
I
I've
know,
always known I don't want kids. So I took that into my own hands. LMAO. We out of here.
I do not want kids. So here's some things that I do while dating to help navigate that, because I don't think it's too common yet. First and foremost, I let them.
It's like, yet. So you just want it common, so we just die out. That's the other thing of this. Like, people not wanting kids, and as if it's a more growing swath of the population, we're just dying, slowly dying.
No, early, okay? Within the first 3 dates, at least, if it has not come up in conversation naturally. And if it hasn't come up, I'm gonna make it come up. Just by, learning their family structure is one way to do it. If they have nieces, nephews, ask if they want any children or blah, 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 blah. I just assume men do, but still ask. You could ask what their 5 to 10 year plan is. And when you give your answer, not yet, because we have another point to get to, but when you give your answer, you can say, hey, you could just slip it in there. You know what I mean? Conversationally, because I'm going to be here, here, and here. And it's going to be great because I won't have any
That's my advice, man. Just slip it in there.
kids, or I don't want any kids, so I can do this, I can do that, blah, 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 blah. Whatever your reasons are, just slip it in. And what I do after that is I give them a scale of 1 to 10 after I ask men how many kids they want or figure out where they are. And this is so they can stand on it. Because in my experience, men will not take you seriously when you say that you don't want kids. They're either going to think, because I'm 27, oh, you're so young, you'll change your mind, or...
We say that because it ends up being that way a lot of the times.
They're just not going to take you seriously. They're going to think that they can be the exception to the rule and that they're magically going to change your mind for something that...
No, we don't think we're going to magically change your mind. We think your biology is going to magically change your mind.
Could be completely independent of a man in your life,
So see, they all think that we think it's us. It's us. No. We know that it's you, your biology.
So we got these 3 ranges that men usually fall into, and 7 to 10, that man wants kids. Okay? There's no way around it. There's no way about it. He wants kids. 4 to 6, they're 50-50. At that point. So I ask questions, just wondering why they would be 50-50. 1 to 3, I'm still asking questions because, again, men usually want kids, okay? And all that stuff. And I ask them this question first because men will usually match you at where you're at. He might be a 7 to 10, and then once you're in the 1 to 3, he might bring it down because that's what you said. You know
True.
what I mean? So I ask them that.
Men are very acclimating when it comes to things like this, yeah.
I literally asked the guy maybe a couple weeks ago where he stands on the scale, and this man said 9. I said 1. And he said, oh, well, 9 plus 1 equals 10.
Man ain't wrong.
No. And this man still wanted to talk to me. So this is exactly why I'm saying you have to make...
I can understand the women's perspective. If you truly don't, at least at that moment, and then someone's still trying to get in there and trying to tell you that you should, and I get it.
The decision. You decide what happens next. Because these men are still going to pursue you. Don't think that just because they know where you stand is going to change anything. If he's going to just fall back. No.
Yeah, again, I don't even hate on this. Women just being outright, truthful that they don't want kids, they never want kids. That's good. That's the better way to go about things, because now you don't end up accidentally building a relationship or, getting married to these women.
That is not the case. Men will not leave. You have to leave. So that's where I stand on that. If he's in the 4 to 6 range, I think that's dangerous. That's the orange zone, because he could later down the line resent you, or y'all are about to walk down the aisle and he says, hey, I know we talked about this, but I want kids. What you gonna do then?
True. She's not
7
wrong.
to 10 range, I say
She's not
don't
wrong.
bother. I think you're just asking for heartbreak at that point because kids are a deal breaker and should remain that way. So I'm only looking for people in that 1 to 3 range, and it's really just given 1.
No, I 100% agree. If a woman says I don't know if I want kids, I don't want to deal with you. I want a woman that wants kids because that woman's going to be a softer woman in almost all aspects of life. That most of the time. I'm not going to say every time, but most women that don't on kids, that when kids are around and want kids, they're usually more feminine women.
Okay. And that's why I like to date older. Mostly because while men might know what they want, once they're 35, they're like established in their career. They know where their bandwidth actually is. There's no
True.
potential in the future, blah, 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 blah. They're acting in the now. When they're in their 30s, their 20s, of course, men want kids and blah, 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 blah. But at 35, their friends have all settled down, have kids. At 40, they're really thinking, hey, do I have the energy to be chasing toddlers around? Then they know for sure if they want kids or not, because it's giving now or never. Because yes, men can have kids or make kids up until they die, right? But women don't have that luxury. So they have to decide now, I'm getting older. I need to do some make or break decisions right here.
Yeah, just get with a younger woman. Fixes a good chunk of those things.
And then, the older that they are, I think I'm going to be more likely to find people who don't want kids, or they already have kids and aren't interested in having any more.
I think that's probably the best way for a lot of women to get men that don't want kids, the ones that have it already with somebody else that doesn't want more.
With me, okay? That's what I'm looking for. So those are just some things that I implement in my dating life.
One thing I've always believed is you should never want people to be parents who don't
Correct.
want to be parents. You have enough people out here who regret having kids.
I want people to want kids. That's what I want, not just people to have kids.
And there are literal pages. I've done videos on pages of regretful mothers. Some regretful fathers, but a lot of them are regretful mothers. Some of them have said plain and straight off, I hate my kids. Unbelievable statements. But I don't think that people who don't want kids.
Oh, I mean, I don't think it's unbelievable statements. Some kids are just badass kids, Like I can understand my parents having a rough time when I was going through a lot of my shit. So I was like, they're probably like, man,
Should be encouraged to have.
but they still love me.
Because kids do not need or deserve that, and people deserve to live a childless life if that's what they choose.
Nope, I agree with you, Shusa. If people don't want it, nobody's going to force you. If people want it, then go after and vet people and do what you need to do to find a good one. Just so you can have a stable family and a good family with good kids to be productive members of society. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.